Our travellers have just stopped for lunch. Rocket, Kyle and Jill are surprised to find two crows coming unnaturally close, and one of the crows starts to attack Kyle. Three crows swept in from the front. Kyle shouted in a high, frightened kind of yell. Rocket fended off a sharp beak from his face with his hand and cried out in pain. Kyle was backing away from the other two crows as Jill brought her staff down cleanly on the crow's back. It disappeared in a small explosion, leaving a foul smell. There was a second of shock for everyone. Then, battle commenced in full. The last crow on the ground flew at Kyle's hand and tore at the bandage. Kyle fell backwards. Jill swung again, and the Wayfarer's stick clipped the attacker's wing. Cawing loudly, it hopped out of the way around the rock. "Back to the road!" shouted Rocket. They started to move through the rough arch back the way they had came. Immediately, 5 crows landed on the grass to block their route. The sound of wings beat behind them. "Forwards!" urged Rocket. Kyle glanced behind as 4 more dark shapes seemed to fill the triangle of the sky behind them. He pushed to the front, eager not to be trapped. This time, one of the crows went for Kyle's head, while 2 others hopped in front of him, weaving and bobbing clumsily. Kyle panicked. He closed his eyes and ducked. He heard Jill's stick whistle past his ear and choked on the stench of ex-crow as a flurry of feathers landed on his shoulders. Looking up, he hurled a rock at one of the lead crows. He missed. The next rock made a satisfying thud as it struck home. The other crows moved forward to take the place of their fallen comrades, hovering and wheeling low. As Rocket moved the children forward towards the road, the lead crow went for him. This time it was met with Rocket's penknife. It bellowed and flew off. The flurry of dark feathers and bird cries would have completely confused the 2 children, except for Rocket's cool head. They pushed through the whirling wings as Jill started to take accurate aim at any bird that came too close. With the occasional lucky shot from Kyle, only about 10 crows remained to harass them by the time they reached the road. They all hovered and hopped in front of them at the edge of the ditch. Jill took great delight in stepping forward. "Out of my way, you mangy birds!" 3 crows exploded into sulphurous smoke as Jill scythed through them. The other birds scattered. This is going to be easy, even with the other 2 around, Jill thought. "Which way?" shouted Kyle as they clambered up into the road. "Back to the hut," Rocket said. "Back to the weird guy?" Kyle was amazed. "What for?" "Why not keep going?" Jill asked. Rocket ducked as the regrouping crows dived on him. "It's the only guaranteed shelter, and I'm not going anywhere till I understand more about these blasted birds and that walking stick of yours. And it'll take some convincing to trust that Wayfarer chap. Seems all too plausible to me." The discussion ceased temporarily because of the crows. Jill was kept busy, and several showers of black confetti rained down on the road. As each feather struck the sandstone surface, it disappeared with a boiling hiss, not even leaving a smell. Seeing this, Rocket swung his bag into the path of one of his tormentors. It careered through the air and landed on the road. The crow hopped from one foot to another as the sound like frying eggs could be heard whenever its feet touched the road. Jill could not help herself, given she watched the wretched animal bounce hurriedly down and across the ditch. "That's the last one, I think," she said, leaning on a stick. Still smiling, she heard Kyle whistle low. Kyle had been looking up.